Okay, tonight.
It's
Matt.
September 1st, everybody.
Yes, it's October 30th. Tomorrow's Halloween.
Yeah, don't mind wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, I know.
Don't pay any attention to that.
Pay no attention there. Actually, okay, we're going to hit a very cool one. Ascension, Jesus Christ, Juvenile Spiritual Hall. Okay. Those are just kind of like little dustings on the whole topic, but I had a awesome conversation with this amazing gentleman here, Matthew Curtis, on those subjects. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think you meant to say spiritual juvenile hall, but that's
Correct.
okay.
That's what what did I say?
You almost said that. Juvenile spiritual hall, but
well, I'm a juvenile.
I knew what
so
you meant.
sitting here drinking my beer and being bad. That's right. Okay, let's jump in.
So,
what was Jesus doing here?
Why are we here?
Why are we here? It's a continuation of that. What was Jesus doing here? What's the lesson there? Besides what's written in the Bible, what's the lesson?
This is a big topic. You really want to jump into the most profound thing first, huh?
Why don't you tell me where we should go with this? Because I know he's part of it, but it's let's focus on what we're on this spiritual juvenile hall concept.
Well, this is my perspective, right?
Right.
This is what I've grokked, I've understood from my own pursuits.
Okay.
My personal quest, from my interactions with my personal teacher or benefactor who was capable of demonstration. And I can talk about that either in this one or another one.
We'll get to him on another one, because that one's a whole nother journey. But okay.
But I want to bring that up because
good, yeah.
When a person is capable of demonstration, that means, well, I'm going to say what that means is they are capable of doing things that are miraculous, what most society would term miraculous, okay? And that comes in many, many forms. And for me to witness an individual perform a demonstration of miraculous content, it tells me that individual knows what the hell they're talking about. They are applying the principles of life that they have come to know substantially enough, with enough earnestness
okay,
that it is capable of taking them to the next level of existence, even in this classroom. So, and I'm just talking about that initially because it's important to understand that what I say and what I'm trying to convey is not coming from a place of guesswork.
Okay.
At least in my life, right? I don't want to say that, I don't want to sit here and go, everything I say is the God honest truth. But it is based on things I've witnessed, based on my personal experiences, and based on my direct guidance that I feel I've been capable of tapping into, and what each of us can tap into, and maybe don't even realize we do on a daily basis, and just completely don't put enough
that's it.
Enough
That's
attention
it.
on it,
Not
right?
enough attention on it, and
Yeah.
not enough belief that you're actually doing it.
Yes, everybody does this. When you know that someone's going to call you, and 5 seconds later your phone rings.
Oh,
and that person
we've
is
talked.
called,
Yes,
that is a
yes.
simple demonstration that a lot of people have on a daily basis of receiving telepathic thoughts from the person that is just about to reach out to you.
Yeah, Jorge and I have talked about that exact concept on this show a couple times, actually, in earlier podcasts. But yes, absolutely.
And I've always said that I've been crazy or I felt crazy because that happens more often than it should, at least in my case.
Yeah.
And I don't share it with anybody because it's hard to find somebody, that shares that same plane.
Yeah.
All right. Or that would understand. Right. So you just kind of sit there and you let things happen, and there's just one coincidence after another and another, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do with that?
Yeah. We are full. Our daily life is full of little incidences like that we call coincidences or whatever, that should be validating a lot of these higher principles of life, or I don't want to say powers, but just
Well, in a sense, it's a power. You have a moment where you align with a frequency or a moment of expansion of this construct, and there's a sympathetic frequency, a
there's like a
sympathetic
sensitivity, right?
resonance, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So,
I mean, and some people have it and some don't. right?
Where's your
Or
pink
can
tab?
all- or it
Where's your
just
pink
depends
thing?
on
everybody
how
has
tapped
it.
in they are,
See,
right?
the very essence of taking embodiment means we are a fractal of the original fractal. I mean, original perfection of life, the original causation. We are a fractal of that. We are an embryo of that same potential as the origin of origins. And if people really think about that, if they ponder that deeply enough and realize what that means, that the profound potential and the implications of what that means for our life and where we're going to go.
Okay.
So I got a question real quick. Sorry. So if that is for us, and assuming that there's life on other planets, other universes, what applies to them? Are they on a different fractal or
Different trajectory?
trajectory, yeah.
Different
like,
potential?
Like,
No.
like, are we headed in the direction that they are? Are they more advanced? Are they where we need to be? Are they just a projection of, like a different? What is it?
I'm really the wrong person to talk about the, we'll call it alien life form. I will only talk about other civilizations in the universe as being of similar potential, because
I like
that's
that.
all I know so far.
I like that. And if I could just throw a little seed on that one,
Yeah.
they're in a physical form, right? These beings that technically are on other planets or in other solar systems or a different quadrant of the galaxy or wherever they may be. If they're in a physical form, then they're, in my opinion, based on everything that I've seen and experienced and read, even sci-fi, a being that's in a corporal form is still in a bounding phase, not a free spirit phase. So there's some overlap there with what we're experiencing here in a corporal body.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
Okay.
agree?
Yeah.
I like that.
From my understanding so far, it's the physical expression of life. This vehicle that we're traveling in currently is only one of maybe hundreds or thousands that we've already had, depending upon the lessons we've had to learn. It's possible to graduate with only a single embodiment. It's possible,
Okay, so on that point,
yeah.
is that here on this planet there could have been hundreds of embodiments, or
Yes.
potentially other planets, or
No, just in this classroom.
just in this? Okay, so you're suggesting that our corporal existence right now is we are going to be here on this planet and reliving as many forms as we need to have until we graduate.
Yeah. I'm going to say something.
Or I thought this was Last Chance Cafe. I thought this was it. Hey, you get it right this time, or you're done, man. You get recycled. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate untruths that has been woven into Orthodox religion throughout the world. And I can only guess that was done as a way to control the populace, because all religion, the moment a spiritual teaching becomes a religion, it is dead. It is no longer a living, breathing,
Evolving
well,
in a way, like evolving and allowing the teacher and the master to become one, so to speak.
yeah, I guess, I don't know if evolving is the right word, but yeah, I get what you're trying to say. It's
That it's fluid.
that's what I call religions. It's like a bastardization of a once living teaching.
Got it.
It is where living teachings go to die. Is becoming a
Yeah,
religion.
Would you agree with me that it becomes institution? Basically.
Yes, because you have individuals who, whether they're called a bishop, bishops, priests, whatever, who are acting as intermediaries between the populace and God. And that in itself is a singular discreditization of the religion. The moment an individual tries to get between an individual and God, or what we term God, the Godhead, the Creator, once a person says you must come through me, or tries, because that's how like the Catholic religion is kind of structured, right? You've got, I don't want to.
Yeah, there's hierarchy. There's hierarchy, and there's advancement and elevation in a hierarchy.
And you defer to the higher,
right?
Tiers of, all the way up to the Pope or whatever. I don't want to go too deep into that.
No, it's okay. We don't have to.
I'm not a very good speaker on those topics. I have my strong points, and then there's some things I've just never put much emphasis into diving into or communicating, because the moment I discern something is not worth my time, I literally want to keep my attention on the things that are moving me forward.
No,
right?
I hear you, and that's a great way to see it, and I feel the same way. That's yeah.
Right.
Yeah, eliminate the lowest common denominator. Let's
that's
go.
just practically applying one's attention, because our attention is our single greatest resource of our consciousness. Our attention is everything. It's the one thing that allows us to focus, and our attention is our life force going out to something to bring us back what we hope to be as truth and guidance to carry us forward to the next step. So I don't know if I'm going deeply off tangent upon what you wanted me to originally talk about.
No, it's okay, because it all ties in and it all prefaces the initial idea was, why are we here on this planet? This particular planet, why are the souls here, and what is this concept of the spiritual juvenile hall?
Yeah. So we come into embodiment because that is a necessary function of the embryos of the originator of this beautiful path that we are on. They have to understand the concept and the, like I said before, the potential of free will. Because free will is the most paramount function of all of creation. It is a stewardship of such tremendous responsibility that a individualized presence of creation has to go through this classroom experience to understand the gravity of what they've signed up for, because it was a choice.
So talking about free will, so if somebody were to practice, or is there like a heaven or a hell? So if somebody is a bad person in life, and they manage to ascend, can they? Are they allowed to? Is there a bad place that they go to? Or does everybody just ascend to the same place?
Well, just so you understand, in your hundreds or maybe thousands of embodiments that you've already had, you've probably been a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably been a thief. You've probably done some awful things in one of those embodiments, have been forced to by circumstance. So are you redeemable? 100%. Because the interesting thing is, everything we do in this classroom never happened.
Okay.
So
chew on that one for a minute.
Well,
Put that
I
one
have
in the
to
finger.
elaborate on that.
No, please do. Please do.
So, oh gosh, this
wow,
is something.
I wish I just had like a THC pen right now.
So imagine
Gonna
this.
take them a little tiny vapor to kind of let that sink in.
Imagine that. Well, number one, we're gonna have to go deep here. All right. So imagine the concept of perfection. Okay, because anyone who doesn't or hasn't pondered life, excuse me, I got a burp, hasn't pondered life deep enough to understand how absolutely stunningly magnificent life is, how complex a human organism is in itself, how unbound our consciousness is to ponder anything in existence at any moment, and to even consider the magnitude of that potential of where it could go. If a person hasn't done that, to understand how magnificent life is, and hopefully people have understood by listening to other people who have spent the time to talk about the science of the mind, the science of the physical form, the hundreds of thousands to millions of chemical interactions happening every second in our physical bodies. And it all maintains a mathematical harmony to a degree, unless we introduce or entertain discordant vibrations that start to interfere with those processes. So when one considers that, of how perfect we see things and how much mathematics are even in a flower, a sunflower, in geometry of things, and apply that
Fibonacci patterns,
Yeah.
all those provable mathematical
and these
formulas.
great telescopes we're throwing up, like this new James Webb one, right? Who are peering deeper and deeper and seeing so much more out there, that's blowing science away of what it's discovered. Like, it's turning science on its head. So, because a lot of science is guesswork.
Yeah,
it's theories.
Yeah, theoretical that's hypothetical, and it's hypothetical and theoretical until it can be proven
Yeah.
over and over and over again in a laboratory.
Yeah, and science is good, right? But it's never going to allow it. Like, I don't put science as my utmost thing. Like, I refer to science when it collaborates or correlates to something I learned directly from life. Then I will speak about the science, right? I don't go to science first, because science to me is little kids in a sandbox still playing with their Tonka trucks, trying to figure out stuff, you know?
Can I make a statement about science?
Yeah.
And this is, so I had, some of these deep contemplative thoughts recently about science. And I'm a man of science, but I'm an arts and science person. So as an artist, you're a creative person. As a creative person, you're tapped into the spiritual realm and God.
Yeah.
So the two actually go together. Look at Da Vinci and look at some of these other guys that were arts and science combination people. So they were creators and designers and men of science.
Absolutely.
Okay?
They were Renaissance, like that term, the Renaissance individuals. They knew something of everything.
Yes, and they saw how it was all connected.
Yes.
So here's the revelation I came to on science. Science and everything you understand about science is merely a small, measurable, metric presentation or ability to assign a metric to something that is happening that has a depth to it that is far greater than that scientific metric measurement. Does that make sense? Meaning, when the ability to have a measurable, let's use your brain for example, okay? Oh, you're having let's say you're trying to tie the two together, spiritual and physical. You're having a spiritual moment. Oh, well, a scientist will say, we put electrodes on your head and we saw that there was some chemical reactions and some neurons firing in your brain, and that's actually what was really going on. This is what was going on, and that's why you were having that experience. No. You are measuring the results of that experience in a way that can actually be measured in physical form. So what I'm saying is science ultimately is a way of measuring something that is happening in a physical manner that is being caused by something much greater. Does that make sense?
It does. And I want to elaborate on what you said, is that science, what we term science, is just the things that we have made instruments capable of measuring, like you were saying, right? That it just dawned on them, this is something we're going to attempt to measure, so we'll make an instrument to measure that thing. So what about the other million to infinite things in the universe that we haven't even stumbled across yet?
Well,
and how do all those measure out to be? Because we keep discovering more and more things. As soon as we make an instrument capable of measuring something, they discover, oh, this thing's been in existence all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
it, but what I was going to say was, the limitation of science is that we are making machines to measure something we can utilize our consciousness to do directly, if
fair enough.
become aware of how to do that. And so, because mankind has been so enamored with the material realm, this is one of our reasons why we struggle in life, is because mankind is so enamored with manipulating this material realm. This is why we have fallen asleep, as they say, is because we spend so much of our attention on doing this and that thing for the physical body. Got to eat this, got to drink that, got to do this workout. We got to say these things in church. We've got to do these activities at work. That all our attention is a finite resource, and if we put it on things that are the effect of life versus putting it on the causation of life, then we are studying the effects to try to figure out the causation, instead of going directly to the causation. And it's a way different thing. Like, that may sound simple to say, but to do that with one's consciousness, with intention, is like discovering that you have an ability you never knew existed before.
Swimming and dancing in the currents of possibility.
Like, it is night and day difference to shift to training the attention to stay focused on causation. Is like the moment a person does that with enough effort, they will literally have a breakthrough of the veil that, or what we say we can't see beyond this physical realm. But the moment a person does that with enough time,
You're inspiring me right now to start doing it in this very moment with this very podcast.
yeah, it is night and day difference. Like, I could talk for a
Okay,
month about
so
that, yeah.
so Juvenile Hall. We're in Juvenile Hall. I'm gonna put you in Juvenile Hall if you don't stay on
Tangents, my
topic.
friends. Tangents. Tangents are good.
No. Okay, but seriously, Juvenile Hall. Here we are. We're
All right,
going
so
we're
getting
going through
back to
these
the
life
classroom,
processes. Back to the classroom.
Okay.
Is there? You had mentioned that there's like a last chance cafe at some point, and if you don't get it right in this last embodiment, something on that. Are you still kind of on that thought, or has that thought changed?
I'm trying to recollect what I said to you.
Okay, you had
spurred
told
that
me
on.
that this life right now, at least as would be written in the like maybe in the Bible, with you either you get saved or you that's it.
One embodiment to fail or
Yeah,
to
is
go to
do you
heaven.
do you
Yeah.
still have another chance to be reincarnated and come back and do another embodiment until you get it right, or is this the last chance?
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you don't get it right
We've
this
all done
time,
that.
then you get recycled. You told me one time that you thought that this was it on this planet. That
Well,
everybody in this classroom
okay.
that's alive right now, it's the last chance.
I remember maybe
Can
what
you-
I told you.
Okay, can you
about
elaborate on that
something.
one? Maybe
Oh, man.
I didn't get it right.
That's a biggie. Are we ready for this one?
Well, it's part of this juvenile hall because we're trying to explain this juvenile hall concept.
Okay, so we take embodiment because it's a necessary function to understand free will, right? I talked about that.
Okay, yep, you got that.
It's important, and that I could talk about that for a long time in itself, but we struggle doing that because an individual, like I said, doesn't have to go down the lifestyle of or materiality, or I should say, there's different tiers of doing that, right? There's many different tiers of falling into the dream state, falling asleep, right? Some of us are different tiers of being awake, right? And fully awakened, I would classify as an individual like Jesus, okay? He was a fully awakened child of God. And that's what it looks like. Somebody who can just manipulate the world around him, make disease vanish, walk on water. He can raise his physical structure to perfection even after death, right? Or so-called death, because death doesn't exist. It's just taking off this set of clothes and going into a period of rest and then donning another one when the time is right. So we've done that many times. Reincarnation. Even Jesus spoke about this in his teaching directly to the people. If you take him at his word, he spoke about these things.
Okay.
And so when one understands that this is not, you do it right one time or you're going to burn in hell the rest of your life. That doesn't necessarily mean people are going to become bad because they know they can just keep coming back and there's no consequences to this life. The problem is when you understand karma, when you understand that every frequency that you send out in every embodiment is going out to the universe and returns to its sender, when you understand the mathematics of that interaction with the universe, that is paramount, because a person of any kind of intelligence, if they're using their intellect or intelligence properly, when you understand that dynamic, you will never again in your life wish to send out a discordant activity to any part of life, because you as the sender will pay the price the moment you send it out, and you will pay the price when it returns back to you. You paid twice.
The spiritual email returns itself. Check your inbox.
So that is mathematics, and it's so perfectly just. That is the perfection of life. It is so just. So when one understands that, and if you use that to understand that if a person goes out and murders another one, that individual is going to experience so many traumas because they took a life. Well, I should say this. There are just reasons to take a life. There are ways you can take a life and not have any karma from that experience, because life, that's a whole nother tangent. But I'll come back to that sometime.
Okay. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll write another little pink little note thing for you. Little Post-it note. I'm gonna put it here.
Unless you want me to go into
right
that
here.
right
He's
now.
right here. He's gonna have a.
Okay. Want me to go into that? All right, I'll touch on that real quick.
Okay. Please go ahead.
There is no reason why you should be incapable of defending yourself. Like, if another individual wishes you physical harm, your physical body is a temple created by life. And your family is something that is in your direct sphere that is tied to you in this embodiment. If someone is coming at you or your family and wishes you physical harm or can cause, I'll say death, but even though there is no death, to your child or your wife or yourself, you have the right under the laws of the universe to defend yourself, even to the point of taking someone's life. But that is the only time it is justified. And life knows the intentions of every individual at any moment.
Okay,
you cannot hide intention.
What about corporate punishment? Since we're on that note, and since it is tied into the whole karma in this life, karma in your personal life, what about corporal punishment where a mass murderer is put to death?
Okay. Let me, before I get into that, remind me of that.
Okay.
I want to tie on one more thing that's coming to mind.
Go ahead.
That is this. Imagine Jesus. Because this is something that I thought about or came to my attention. I don't know, maybe a year ago or so, but he was a fully awakened individual, right? And I just said that we have the right to take people's lives who wish us dead. There were hundreds and thousands of people who wanted him dead. All the Pharisees and priests of that time, right, who got him put on trial, they were so irate that he was coming in and turning their whole religion and their temples
And their sense of control.
into a mockery.
Yep.
He was going in there and teaching people something entirely, or basically usurping their power and their hold on the people by telling them that they had a direct line to the Creator themselves, that all these things about sacrificing animals and stuff on the altar to God was such a profane act that had no weight in the eyes of heaven, right? So he was taking their business away from the priesthood, and they were so irate with what he was doing and teaching that they wanted him dead. But they couldn't do it directly, right? They had to do it through legal means because they were under the Roman thumb. And the Roman governor at that time was Pontius Pilates, I think is how you say his name. And so they had to utilize these means, but they were going to utilize these existing Roman methods of that were the laws in the land to put an end to Jesus. So they finally conspired to get Pontius to hold a trial, right? Saying that this individual was actually breaking Roman law. And I forget which law they say he was breaking, but that's how they got him into the Roman legal system and brought him before Pontius. And Pontius wanted nothing to do with the guy. In fact, from my understanding, he actually kind of believed in what was going on. But he had to obey the laws too. And the priest had an
obligation.
An obligation, exactly. He had an obligation to anyway. So, we know what happened. But the point is this. They were sending Jesus to his execution. And a lot of the populace turned against Jesus at that time. They were spitting on him and just berating him and throwing, food on him and jeering him as he dragged his cross through the streets, right? And they were sending him to his execution. And all that energy, that frequency that those people were harboring towards him when he was a living example of what each of us should be in life. And he literally had the ability to take that frequency that was being directed at him and literally mirror it back to the sender. That is an ability that individuals that were fully awakened have. And he could have sent that lethal energy from those people and ended their life on the instant just by sending back the energy that they were directing at him. But he did not do that. He did not do that because that was not in his mission. He had, like everything that happened in his life, he knew years in advance. Years. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He saw this. I know he had to, because that is an understanding and ability life gives people at his level. And he knew, and he used what was going to happen to its maximum potential. He allowed his execution. He literally took an individual that was hanging next to him on another cross and awakened that individual through his sheer presence and instruction he gave that individual while hanging on the cross. And not only that, he needed his body terminated so that he could literally have the opportunity to show his disciples and everyone the truth of what he had been teaching them. that he would, in 3 days' time, take his physical form and raise it into absolute perfection and accomplish the ascension. It was a necessary activity to happen, and he allowed it to happen that way. But he could have done otherwise. So that's wrapping up that. And there is, I don't even remember where I heard this or if I was directly taught this, but there was an individual, I believe in Sumerian times, and this was during an age, this was the okay, so if you understand a republic, what it means to have a government as a republic, what this country is supposed to be, that means the highest individual, the highest consciousness individual is running the land, because they are in the most direct communion or have the highest understanding from the source, right? That is the just way to run a government. That's a true republic. And so this individual, who was the highest individual in their republic, went by himself to to face an army that was coming to conquer his city, okay, and his lands. He went out there by himself to face thousands of murderous individuals. And he said to them, I should say the murderous individuals came to them and said, "Where's your army?" Right? And he said, "I have no need of an army." And he says, "We are going to come and destroy and rape and pillage and tear down everything you hold dear. And you're not going to do anything to stop us." And this individual looked at them with pity. A single individual facing thousands of an army with murderous intent.
And he said, "Strike me, and I will become more powerful than you will ever imagine."
He
Where's
looked
that
at these
from?
individuals with pity. Imagine. And it was the same with Jesus. He looked at these individuals trying to put them to death with pity, because the moment this general sent his army with murderous intent upon this innocent populace, this individual had enough understanding and power and truth of life encapsulated in their presence that he turned that frequency back upon the sender. And thousands of individuals died on the instant. On the instant. And he felt nothing but pity for them. Because what a waste of life. What a lack of understanding of life. And that is the ability and the right of an awakened individual to defend what they know is true in a manner that is perfectly just. Yeah.
Is that what we're trying to learn to do here in Spiritual Hall?
No, but I think it's an
No,
important
come on,
point.
man. That's what I want to learn to do. I want to learn to do all that. No, you know what?
To murder without consequence.
No.
Eric has evil intentions.
No, I can fully appreciate that concept.
Because
of
if one really
feeling
looks
the pity
at
of that disrespect for life, and
How dare you catch a fish bigger than me? You must die.
no, that's an amazing point, and you know, to know that there's individuals out there that have ascended to that, have gotten to that level of such personal authority on that handle on that concept. It's crazy. And I would hope that in my life, maybe not in my life, maybe in another life, I'll work towards that a little bit better. I think I'm wanting to work towards something like that level of understanding and appreciation of life and awareness. It's yeah, boy, we've all got a lot of work to do, don't we?
Sometimes I think about it and I wonder if I'll ever reach that, but in my mind I don't really think I will, which kind of saddens me, because then it's like, what will the next life be?
Yeah, but you're young, dude. You
No,
still
I know.
have a lot of years
But
ahead of you
still,
to move
life
towards
goes
that.
fast.
Yeah.
You know, and if 20 years down the line, or 30, 40, 50, whatever, I'm like, man, there's still so much, right? I still don't feel
Okay, well let me challenge you on that one. Okay, you're young. Okay, and one thing I've learned is as I've gotten older is as you set that trajectory for yourself, and don't say I can't do this or I won't do this or I won't. It's not possible for me to do that. You're already telling yourself you're not going to do it. But if you tell yourself you want to do that and you'd like to work towards that kind of a trajectory, well, then it'll happen because you are saying that's what you want. So it comes to a deeper question of what do you want? What do you want to achieve?
You know what? Yes. Jesus said 3 things about that. He said, seek and you shall find. Right? Knock and it shall be opened unto you. What was the third one? Do you guys remember?
No, I don't.
I'm forgetting right now too.
See if I can.
I forget right now, but literally think about those words. All right, let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, go.
Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Please, for
Ask
God's-
and it will.
Ask and you shall receive. Right. All right. Think about that.
And that
individual.
doesn't mean ask for a bag of money, okay? And it doesn't mean you know, all these other well, debatably unnecessary material things.
All right, I want to share something that may be profound or may not for some, but here is a fully awakened individual saying those simple things to people, right? Like he is teaching some of the highest principles of life using like what 9-10 words or but this is this is the science. There is science and there's mathematics and
Physics.
There-
It's almost like physics. Asking you shall receive. You put it out and it comes back.
I guess it could be physics.
That's almost like Newton's laws.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, but I want to share a perspective on that because it is so profoundly simple. The truth of life is so profoundly simple that he literally summed up our journey in like 12 words. It's probably more. I didn't count how many words were in that, but would say there's 16 words.
It's a very it's
Right.
a very digestible amount of words.
Yes.
Let's
We
say
could.
that.
It's so simple. A child can comprehend it, and the truth of life has to be so simple. A child can comprehend it. Mankind has made everything so complex that it baffles the human intellect to such a degree it becomes a monstrous distraction. But the truth of life is so simple, a child can understand it. So seek and ye shall find, ask and you shall receive, knock and it shall be opened unto you. And those statements are so powerful that they alone can take individuals to their ascension.
Okay, so now here's my big question for you, my friend. Okay, in trying to escape spiritual juvenile hall, will you ascend in this life?
Will I ascend in this life?
Not sure.
Honestly, I don't even care.
Thinking
anymore.
about it
I don't even.
on the trajectory.
What if I told you I don't care?
That would be an absolute beautiful surrender.
I don't care. Because you know
maybe
what?
you will, maybe you won't. Well, I want to see you do some of the stuff that you're going to talk about in one of these next little sessions that we're going to do. Okay. But we're not going to do it tonight.
But why don't you care?
He's trying to end.
Well, in 1 minute, sum it up.
Sum it up.
Because if you worry
Because
too much about the
you have
destination,
a child that you can pass it on to.
Because I have seen enough to know with absolute certainty that whether or not I achieve graduation in this embodiment, I'll be certain to in one of the coming next one. You know,
beautifully said.
So it doesn't even matter.
There's the trajectory, okay? So maybe it's not this lifetime. Maybe it's your next lifetime. Maybe it's a few more after that. Doesn't matter. What matters is, are you on the path? Right? It's the journey, not the destination. Right?
So cliche.
But true, isn't it?
It's the journey, not well. We've been making a pretty rough journey for our lives. It doesn't have to be this rough.
I won't lie.
So, I guess it's a matter of perspective.
All right, you guys, we're gonna do more later. Thanks so much, and I can't wait to go through whatever topics
Yeah.
are coming up next.
But the journey is necessary.
Absolutely.
It's like specific for you.
That's it. All right, more later.
Yeah, I know. It's a blast. That's okay, because